Yo, what is up, guys? It's Hunter here, back at you with another video. This one's going to be super cool, super valuable. But before we get started, what I want you to do is go like and subscribe. I want you to go join our Telegram channel. Been dropping some cool stuff in there. I'm going to be dropping a lot more charts in there as well. Go on our Instagram. Go ask us some questions on the Instagram. Go love our Instagram. Go follow us. Go drop some comments on our YouTube channel, some videos that you want shot, things like that, guys. When you do things like that, that just gets us more, routed up about what we can do better to grow the channel, right? So, and we're doing this channel for you guys. I know that there's a lot of channels out there. There's a lot of noise on in the Forex game, and we're just trying to keep it as simple as possible for you guys. Just keep beating on that drum to stick to one thing and one strategy, right? But this right here is going to help you all around in your trading, right? Because you're pretty much playing the psychology part with your trading, against the guys that are trying to beat you, right? And you can see that it's developed and how it's designed through just looking at this, right? And you guys look at this all the time. If you guys have a structural trading plan and things like that, you're looking at this every day before you even get started. That is Forex Factory, right? And I know you guys, it's nothing really cool, but I want to show you something with Forex Factory. I want to show you something that I use just by using this here. Just say Hunter ain't trading today. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna break down this week. This week to me, I'm not saying that there weren't good trades. These trades to me are not high probability. They're not something. Did I take trades today? I mean, this week, yes, I did. Was I being risky? Was it risky? Yes. Did they win? Yes. Did I lose? Yes. But the thing of it is like when weeks come like this, it's just like, man, I'd rather develop that, that real good, disciplined, professional trader, getting to a point where I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to take the week off, maybe trade demo, get on with the group. Let's see, let's map the week out. Let's see how it performs and stuff like that. The reason why I say these things, guys, is because I have back tested this. I have back tested where days, weeks like this, it's inconsistent, right? Some days, like today, I'm going to show you, did have trades, but it's not going to happen all the time with the way that this news is stacked up like this, right? It's inconsistent. It's going to be unpredictable. It's a Friday, things like that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, okay? And I'm going to break down the week, okay? So you can see here the first 2 days, of this week were bank holidays, right? So Sunday was bank holiday right out of the gate, market open. JPY was bank holiday, and then the next day rolls around, we had a GBP bank holiday, right? So there was not probably, when you look at a day like this, you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it like, okay, I'm only going to look for, perfect setups this day because it could not have a lot of volume in the market. We got bank holidays and might not be moving, right? Then you roll into the next day, which is Tuesday. Tuesday was a really good day of trading. The reason why I say that is because the news events were early, right? So it goes right into 30 minutes after New York starts, and as soon as it happens, it hits a CPI news, right? If you're trading Canadian, you might have stayed away from it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have something that is like mapped out for the day. You got one at 7:30, you got one at 9 o'clock, you got one at 1 o'clock. It's nothing like that. If the news comes, it opens, it gives you what you want, it manipulates the market, and it could potentially manipulate it where you're like, I understand what they're doing at that time, right? They're showing their hand with this news, and then you can execute, right? You got to think like this is how I think. When I see red folder, I'm looking at the chart. I'm like, okay, I figure out where my direction is. I'm like, and then I figure out points of interest inside the day. I'm like, okay, this news will probably manipulate to those points of interest, and then I can execute, right? It's manipulating people the wrong way, right? Or news can act as a shift of market. It could be at a significant area, significant low, high, and the news will shift the market in the direction it's been wanting to go, right? So, but you can see right here, Wednesday, you got to think like this. Okay, when you get up in the morning, you're trading, right? You get up in the morning, you're trading New York, trading London. You got to think that you got FOMC at 1 o'clock, right? So in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to touch the market, nor will I touch it in London, nor will I touch it in New York. The reason why, guys, is because I've consistently back tested where when you have news events in the later day, they will potentially consolidate the market until that happens, right? They will trap traders to get in the market. They'll run little bitty big candles, little bitty down candles, big down candles, and they're all they're doing is engineering liquidity. And then when they get ready to release that news, they see that and then they start manipulating. Where's the most money, right? And then they get it out, and then I recommend don't trade this day unless you're seasoned, right? But you can see where they're showing their hand. They start manipulating certain areas, certain liquidity areas, and then you can plan out your trade, right? You got to play the game like they play, right? This is a very, very valuable lesson because you have to be here because this is what they're using. This is like it's like a ninja star for them. You know what I mean? This is in their tool belt. So then you roll into Thursday, okay? And the same thing happened. You had GDP news at 6 o'clock, right? And then right after that, you roll into New York. There wasn't really no news, right? So this right here, if you're after the news, just like if you were going to trade London and you had news that if you had news at 6 a.m., this is Central Time, guys. This is my time. If you had news at 6 a.m., London would probably be a little bit of consolidation. We'll look at that. We'll look at that on the chart so I can show you. So with that, and then you get into New York and you start to see, okay, I can trade USD CAD. I can trade, other different pairs. I can stay away from this pair. Maybe it moved way too much. It's already done its move. You wasn't up at the time. You see what I'm saying? You have to break this down, right? With your week, right? If you're not looking at this and you're getting stopped out on a big candle and then you get stopped out and then you're like, oh, I'm wrong. And then you chase the candle. You chase the news manipulation candle, and then you get stopped out again because it goes back up in the real move that it was going to. This is the reason why. This is the reason why. And I'm showing you how to use psychology behind these news events, right? What they're doing, right? So then look, today, I think in my mind, there's people out there like, man, I love it when it's loaded up news. I like news myself. I like news myself. Only when it's set up kind of like this or Tuesday. Not Wednesday, but Tuesday, right? When the news starts to come into right 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I know for a fact that it's done accumulated. Let's see the manipulation and let's catch the rhythm, right? Let's see their hand. Let's catch the rhythm. Now, days like this, I will not trade. I'll trade demo, but I'm not going to trade. The reason why is because I've seen days like this and it's inconsistent. It's very inconsistent. Look, you had news all through the night with the euro, right? Okay. So pretty much through the day of Asian and stuff like that, I'm sure it was consolidating before the news comes out, manipulates, and then look. Right after that, we have GDP news at 3:30, right? You see how these news events are, a couple of hours apart. Boom, boom, boom in each session, right? London, and then look how we roll into New York. We have Canadian, and then look, 8:45, we have the PMI, and then 1 o'clock with the Fed spoke, right? So you could have been inside of all these sessions, right? Trading, London session, New York session, and things like that, and then be getting tore up by PMI. PMI could have shifted the market one way, and then when the Fed spoke, it could have shifted the other way. I'm not saying that it done that today. It looked fairly good today. But I'm just saying in general, I wanted to shoot about this because I've back tested this a lot about, when days in like this, especially on a Friday. You don't want to be holding trades through a Friday, right? Unless you're swinging. If you're a day trader, you shouldn't have, orders left over through the weekend. It's just that's my rule of thumb as well. So when I see a day like this, I'm just like, Hunter is staying away because I can see how they're engineering, right? You got news in London, you got news in New York, and then you got news after New York at 1 o'clock with the Fed speak. They can do so many things. They can engineer so much liquidity with that right there, right? And I'm playing their game. I'm like, okay, you got news at London, you got news right when New York starts, and then you got news at 1 o'clock after my timing. That makes sense, right? I know it makes sense for their timing, but I'm talking about trying to get me caught, and I don't want to be in a market like that, right? So this is what I'm telling you is when you look at a day like this, my recommendation is to stay away, right? Guys, the market puts out opportunities every day. This bus keeps rolling around. It's not going nowhere, right? So it's not like you're missing out on anything. So you can roll into next week and you can see that we're about to have pretty much a good week, right? Same thing like I told you, there's news, but next week will probably be an okay week. There's not a lot of crap going, right? I mean, you got the GDP for the Canadian, you got the Fed speaking again, consumer confidence at 9, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You got the Fed speaking again on Tuesday. Fed speaks twice that week. That's okay. That's okay. But like I said, when the Fed speaks, like it speaks at 6:30, right? So when I wake up and usually I get to the charts by, I'll wake it up around 6:30 and I get to the charts. I do my morning routine and get to the charts by 7 and I start to see. So after this will be done. So I'll get to see their hand and I'll be able to say, okay, I'll be able to execute or not. Or I'll be like, okay, we got consumer confidence coming up. Let's see what that does first. Let's see what consumer confidence does first. And then I'll execute, right? And then you got the Fed speaking at 9:15 today, right? So this news impact, guys, what I'm saying is like pay attention to this stuff. Is because you could get into a trade at 7:45, let's just say, okay? And from 7:45 all the way to 8:45 or 9 o'clock, the trade's going in your favor, okay? And one little news event, okay, comes all the way back to your entry, smokes your stop loss, and then goes right back the same way that you want to go. It's very irritating, right? So when this news comes out, you see what they're doing, see how they're manipulating, and see if they set up again, and then execute, right? Because you're getting on the train with them. They're getting the people out that don't understand this, right? Well, you get on, ride the train, right? Trade with them, go with them. Okay. So I wanted to show you this is because these impact news events could be a very easy trade for you if you understand it. But you got to understand how they're engineering it through the day, right? Just like last week. Today, I'm sorry. Today, I'm just like, this is nothing. I don't want none of this, right? This is, when I see something like this, I look at it as they're fixing to make a lot of money. And I don't want to be caught in it because you could be being a tremendous trade. You could be going with the trend and all that and all these news impacts. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be setting 50, 60, 70, 80 pip stop losses when you're day trading, right? And it's whipsawing and going back and forth and smacking those stop losses, smacking those stop losses. It's just not high probability trading, right? So we'll look at it today on some of the pairs, right? So we'll go to here, and you can see. Let's go to GU. Let me get rid of this real quick for you guys. Okay. You can see that we had a consistently good drop on GU, right? Okay, that's fine. But look, I want you to pay attention. Look at the monthly time frame. I need to go to trade so I can see more data. So let me just hang on there right. Okay. All right, GU daily time frame. Okay, monthly time frame. Okay, you can see here that we have back in 1985. Okay, 1985 we have an area of value, right? And now we are pulling into that. You can see that's kind of an order block, okay, because nothing's been there. Okay, so we're pulling into that order block, right? So clearly the market wanted to go down there, and it effectively dropped there. Okay, so what I'm saying is today is that day where you got away with it. Let's just say you were trading the trend. Okay, you got away with it, but it doesn't happen like this all the time, guys. I'm telling you, just like today when you see this FOMC. Okay, even though we were moving down, check it out. Look how they did this. They ran it fast up, and then they ran it fast down. They ran it fast up, and then they hit it again, right? So they smoked 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to think about it. There were people chasing this, right? If you don't understand liquidity, you will be the liquidity, okay? Remember that. Write that down. So, like today, we can look at a few more pairs. Every pair was a consistent, moving up. I was looking at it. I traded demo. I caught this move here on USD the buy here. Okay. I didn't really like gold. You can see that gold ran up and then we smashed back down and consolidated, right? That's nothing I want to be in. SPX had if you were on the lower time frame, SPX was pretty good for scalps on the way down, Because look, you can see that we're still moving down, right? You don't need EMAs to tell you that it's moving down. If you want to have the EMAs, I'll use EMAs, guys. I use EMAs. So you can see that we're below the 50 on the 15, we're below the 200, which is the 50 on the hour, right? So our trend's moving down. But the thing of it is like if you were to trade with the trend day. But like I told you, I've consistently back tested days like this, and it's inconsistent. Like you do not, sometimes you'll get a free lunch, but most of the time it will smack you in the teeth, right? So I just want to show that. If you guys didn't know that, that's a very good rule where you can be like, you can go back and you can look at the news and you can be like, okay, well, Hunter was talking about, man, there's news packed up from London in the middle of the day, right when New York starts, and then at the end of New York, and then at 1 o'clock, it's just not high probability. It's just not, right? You could have been in a trade and been really close to your TP. You can be like, and it just, the flash PMI could have came out and just smoked your stop loss off one candle. It happens. It happens. It happens. How many times you be like, last week, you're reading the news event and it's a PMI news or CPI news, and it doesn't do very much. But the next week or the next 3 weeks or 3 weeks after that, PMI comes out or CPI comes out, and it just moves the market massive, right? You're like, oh crap, right? So that's what you have to be aware of. But this can be very good when you get seasoned. I'm not saying do it now. This can be very good to use in your advantage when they start to show their hand. They'll show their hand after these news events are being present. They'll hit liquidity. They'll show their hand, and then you can execute on and then ride with it, right? So I wanted to show you all that with the Forex Factory. Just use the same psychology they use against you. You can use it on them, right? So, guys, I hope you got value out of this video. Like I said in the beginning of it, go like and subscribe. Go in the comment section. Drop a video that you want me to shoot. Joe and I just shoot it for you. Go join our Telegram. That's growing rapidly. Our Instagram's growing a little slow, but go over there to our Instagram. Ask me some questions. Drop me some charts on our Instagram, and I'll grade them. I'll grade them for you. I'll look at them and give you some feedback on them. Okay. So with that, guys, keep pipping and dipping. See you on the next one. Peace.